Ooh, what's up, nerds and geeks? My name is OMG WTF LOLFTWBRB. Welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling 2016. We are playing as the WWF in the year 2001, booking the invasion angle, and tonight we'll be running Thursday Night Nitro on a Thursday. We might be getting back on schedule, it seems. I might still just upload whenever, though. That way we get more videos out in time. But either way, running Thursday Night Nitro, and yeah, still booking the invasion angle. Either way, though, before we can get started, speaking of which, today is Thursday, and I did plan on doing an IWC stream today, but unfortunately someone, let's just say messed up at work. I'm not going to, go into details here, but they messed up at work, and they're going to be out for like a couple of weeks, which led to, some shifts being offered out, and, well, I was offered a night shift today, which I took, because I just don't know how to say no, I guess. But whatever. So therefore, I don't believe there will be an IWC stream this week at all, because I am off Friday, but I've got a lot of plans on Friday, so I don't believe I'll be able to stream, because I've got to be up at 5 a.m. the next day to go to work. So busy, as you guys can understand. Either way, though, we're here. We're running Nitro. Let's jump into this. Let's see how we do. No locker room incidents. We do have a couple of pre-show matches, as per usual. The crowd is just like, why do they keep putting out Daphne? And I'm just like, you'll love her. You're going to love her, trust me. 32 E+ here, abysmal pre-show match. Daphne going over Lisa Marie Varon, a.k.a. Victoria, in 5 minutes, 57 seconds. Like I said, they don't like Daphne. I have no idea why, but it is what it is. Daphne's still a great in-ring performer. I'm pushing on with it. They're not supposed to like Daphne, so any heat is good heat, I say. Daphne with an in-ring performance of a 41. Victoria, Lisa Marie Varon, call her what you like. LMV, I don't care. Life model. Oh, no, it's LMD. Never mind. I was about to say, what? Either way, 17 in-ring performance for her. No in-ring performances or worker improvements, excuse me. As we move on to our next match, another Flock member. 50D+ rating here in a pre-show bout that didn't have much heat and terrible wrestling. Unfortunate for Vampiro. Vampiro going over Steve Blackman in 8 minutes, 4 seconds with the nail in the coffin. I see the problem here. See, unlike, Vampiro and Billy Kidman, who have good chemistry, Vampiro and Steve Blackman, on the other hand, just don't click. Well, Steve Blackman has been used in a while, which, in my opinion, is a crime, so we had to get him on here. And I figured a job to Vampiro was good, but apparently he was really off his game tonight, too. Come on, Vamp, what are you doing? Better not have been on some drugs, I swear to God, dude. I'll suspend you if I have to. Even though you're a big part of the storyline. Vampiro with a 48, Blackman with a 42. Blackman is improving in performance, though, so. Okay, thank God. Whew. And then we go to a match that honestly probably should have been on the main show, and to be completely honest as well, it could have been on a pay-per-view. We have another just, throwaway Team WWF versus Team WCW match, just getting people on, the show who didn't really make it on the show because I ran out of time pretty much. Pre-show bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Booker T, Lord Steven Regal, Power Plant, the WCW Tag Team Champions Power Plant, and the WCW Canadian Champion, Lance Storm. And I guess we're throwing out, real names here, or, official names, I should say. The WCW Commissioner, Lord Steven Regal. Pretty much Team WCW going over Team WWF, the WCW World Champion Kurt Angle, Edge, Testin Albert, and Jeff Hardy in 9 minutes, 44 seconds when Lance Storm defeats Jeff Hardy. I'd imagine by rolling him up with, grabbing him by the underwear, because he doesn't really wear tights, for the victory. Test really off his game. Come on, Test. Jeff is getting better at his dude gimmick. Had an in-ring performance of a 76. Albert with an 81. I would like to point out, I have no idea why Jeff's gimmick went so bad, because he's rated as, great or something in the cool thing. Albert's really pulling up some ratings, guys. Test with a 76. Edge with an 81. Kurt Angle with a 93, Lance Storm with a 77, Sean Stasiak with a 63. I believe that's the weakest. Mark Jindrak with a 67, and Lord Steven Regal with a 76. So Sean Stasiak was at his weakest tonight. But that's fine. And Booker T with a 90, but I doubt Booker T was going to be lower. Regal's improving in performance. Now that I look back at it, though, I kind of wish I would have given Regal the win because he has a minor negative. But, whatever. He still won tonight. Edge is improving in Rumble, and Kurt Angle is also improving his performance. I'm going to take a drink before we start the main show. And let's do this, boys. Start off the night with a 96 A-star rating here. Thursday Night Nitro opens up with the WCW People's Champion making his way down to the ring. And he's got something to say. Once in the ring, of course, he takes a mic and he says, "How's everyone doing tonight? Boston?" Because we're in Massachusetts, so let's just say we're in Boston, because I might be right, and that might be where the TD is, but I'd imagine someone's going to correct me in the comments. Someone usually does. Me, well, I'm doing as well as a guy can for who not only was jumped 2 weeks ago by a giant, but then that same giant grabbed me by the throat and slammed me into the canvas last week. If I didn't know any better, I'd say this giant fellow had some sort of grudge against me. But no, he just thinks I'm going to leave my home. Paul, do you think this is the first time I've been tempted by Vinnie Mac and his money? Because it's not. Many times in WCW did Vince McMahon try to steal me over, but I stayed, and I would still stay. And you want to know why? I had to read that over again real quick. I thought I messed up. Because I love WCW. I love these people, and I love the history WCW brings with it. I was a WCW guy then, and I'm a WCW guy now. And I'll always be a WCW guy. Unlike you, Giant, who did jump over to Vinnie Mac and who was tempted by Vinnie Mac and his money. But you know what, Giant? If you got a problem with that, then we can settle this like men in the ring. And then I'd imagine, DDP throwing off his vest, ready to fight. He's ready to fight Giant. But instead of Giant, and we can tell by this picture, out comes Chuck Palumbo. And Palumbo comes out with a mic in his hand as he's walking towards the ring. And he says, "You don't want Giant, Page. Trust me, we've already seen what he can do when he gets his hands on you. Do you really think a sanctioned fight is going to make a difference? I'll tell you what, Page." He's now in the ring with Diamond Dallas Page, and he says, "I've been out for blood, the type of blood that'll make me look good. And while I've got that ECW joke RVD at Armageddon, I'm thinking I've got you tonight. Beating you for sure will bring Stacy back to my side." And then Page goes, "Well, kid, you've got the balls. Step up." And then Palumbo, he's like, I'm gonna put you out of your misery, old man." And then Palumbo goes to swing at Page. Page ducks, the two-man brawl, and Page sends Palumbo out of the ring. I'd said to retreat, but that's before I changed up the match rotation here tonight. So that was going to happen a little later, but as we fade to commercial and come back to commercial, but before we can do that, I got to mention that this angle not only got the show off to a strong start, but the crowd is hot tonight because of this angle. DDP also looked good, and it gained some heat to their feud, which is, I guess so, cool. So as we come back from commercial, match is already in progress. 82 solid B rating here in a good match. Diamond Dallas Page going over Chuck Palumbo in 10 minutes, 30 seconds when Palumbo was disqualified after the Giant ran in and attacked DDP. So, oh boy, it's about to get hard here. DDP with an 81 in-ring performance, and Chuck Palumbo stepping it up here tonight, 75. That's not too bad. It's a bit better than I've been seeing. At least it feels like it. I mean, DDP is on a time decline, but, they're not far apart here. Either way, Palumbo improving in technical as well. So the Giant attacked, and he still is. As we go on to an 84B+, Giant is beating the holy hell out of Diamond Dallas Page, and then ends up grabbing him by the throat once again, but this time instead of slamming him to the canvas, he choke slams him through a table. The announce table, to be more precise. As I'd imagine, they're all like, what's Page doing here? And then you got Rhodes being all like, "We got to move out of the way, boys." That's a horrible Rhodes impersonation there. Either way, Giant putting DDP through the page, or the page, through the table, and he's just, screaming at him or something. I don't know. Like, you watch what you said. Let's imagine some Samoa Joe screaming, like, you put some respect on my name or something like that. I don't know. Either way, Giant was a real star in this segment, as he should be. He was rated on Menace, I believe. Although I wish it could have been a little higher. I was expecting maybe an A here, but that's okay. We then have, the main event of the night hype tonight, as we remember on Monday Night Raw. Benoit and Taker kind of copied the Rock Triple H feud. I don't know why I wanted to say Austin. The Rock Triple H feud, where it was kind of like a pick your poison stipulation. Taker picked Kane for Benoit. Benoit then picked up the mic after he beat baby brother Kane and responded by saying, on Nitro, you'll face Ric Flair for the first time ever, and nobody corrected me on the YouTube video, so I'm going to assume I was right, and I didn't misspeak like WWE did when they said Kevin Owens and Shinsuke Nakamura was the first time they ever faced. And tonight we're going to see for the first time ever, and what many people, well, not what many people, I guess, what is a WrestleMania 18 match here in real life is going to happen on Nitro for the first time ever. First time, let's just repeat it over and over again like WWE does. 54 C- as we go to Molly Holly in the ring with a mic in her hand while an unnamed jobber stands in the ring. Molly takes the mic and she says, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to Sara Del Rey, which I spelled her name the way my middle name is spelled, and not the way her name is spelled. She's spelled like Star Wars. Either way, you see, Sara is known as one of the top talents on the women's indie scene. And since Lita isn't woman enough to accept my challenge, I went out and found my own competition. So don't disappoint me, Sara. So just a pretty much basic storyline as Molly takes a jab at Lita before going into this match with Sara Del Rey, which a lot of you, I'm assuming, know who that is. If you don't, she's one of the main trainers in NXT now, and she was one of the top women's talents in the indie scenes for a very long time. It's a shame that she was never hired. I've never actually really seen her wrestle, so I can't speak. Either way, 38D- in an abysmal match. Molly Holly going over Sara Del Rey in 3 minutes 7 seconds with the Molly Go round. Did cool the crowd, but that's fine because it'll lift up in a few minutes here. Molly with an in-ring performance of a 51, Sara Del Rey with a 14. And I think this might actually be her first match ever. Like, she just debuted. She's a rookie in here. I've never seen her pop up before. So this might be her first match, because I think actually, you know what is her first match? I looked at her match history. She's never had a match. So, you're welcome, Sara Del Rey. Hopefully this gets you some jobs here. You should have taken this opportunity to improve, but you didn't. We then go into a 58 C-. What was their heat at? They're just losing heat. Did they milk Matt Hardy and Lance Storm's feud? Either way, once the match is over, Molly Holly once again goes to grab the mic. She says, Lita, have I earned my shot yet? Didn't I earn my shot when your boyfriend and you took out my sweet and loving Gregory Helms? Didn't I earn my shot when you barely walked out of Survivor Series with that title? Lita, don't you ignore me. I want my rematch, and I'm willing to do anything for it. And that's when Lita's music hits, and out comes the WWF Women's Champion. And Lita says, you know, Molly, you're starting to sound desperate. You haven't earned anything. And I might have barely walked out of Survivor Series, but I still walked out. And as for your loving creep of a boyfriend, for one, he got what he deserved, and karma caught up to him. But his injury doesn't earn you a title shot. But you know, speaking of boyfriends, my boyfriend and his brother have always been known to take things to the, well, you know, to extreme new heights. So you want a title shot, Molly? I don't know why I said that. Then I say let's make history. You said you said you'd do anything for a title shot. Then at Armageddon, how about you and me hang this title up and go at it in the first ever women's ladder match? Which again, I could be misspeaking. There could be a women's ladder match, but I believe I'm correct here. The first ever women's ladder match, and then Molly, of course, being kind of like a psychopathic. Imagine one of those kind of like stalker girlfriends where she's just like deeply like she gets mad at if any girl looks at her boyfriend pretty much. So she wants to beat up Lita because she blames her and Matt Hardy for ruining her or beating her boyfriend up or injuring him. So of course she's going to agree. I didn't finish feel like finishing the whole thing because well I ran out of space. Even though it says I could write more, how bullshit is that? Maybe maybe I just was too lazy to finish it. I doubt that is the truth though. But either way, we go ahead and book it in, and I could be taking a huge risk here, and this match could be horrible. But I figured, why the hell not? If anybody's going to be in a ladder match, it's going to be Lita to make the history of being the first woman in it. And Molly Holly, she's known for kind of, some impressive maneuvers. I mean, she does the Molly go round, and that'd be one hell of a move to see go off the ladder, even though I would not recommend it. So why not have them do it? Why not? I think it'll be fun. Again, like I said, I could, you know what? In fact, hold on. Let me make sure that this is not rated on like high spots, because I don't think a ladder match should be rated on high spots. There's some psychology to a ladder match. Okay, it's rated on high, regular. But yeah, there's some psychology to a ladder match. It's not just flips and shit, Even though that's kind of might be what it's devolved into. Look back at matches like Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels and tell me there wasn't psychology to that match. You don't need to, know how to do flips to be in a ladder match. Anybody can climb. You just need to know how to use the ladder. WWF ladder match for women's title. Lita, of course, who is the champion, who beat Chyna and sent her out of the WWF. I'm sure she's like Stephanie McMahon's favorite wrestler now, even though I think Lita beat Stephanie for the title, didn't she? Or did Stephanie beat Lita? I might be getting that mixed up. And then Molly Holly, who jumped ship to WCW. Oh boy. I mean, I'm curious to see how that's going to go. And to be honest, I'd imagine there'd be a bigger pop for this history-making moment, but maybe I'm wrong. We then lead to a 63 C rating here. Raven and the Flock stand in the middle of the ring. Raven has a mic while Vampiro and Daphne stand by his side. And Raven says, "Last week, I told all you sheeple exactly what the Flock's mission was. I told you about how Shane McMahon hired me to eliminate..." Oh, damn it, I just remembered I forgot to put in a promo. Whatever. I'll tell you guys what the promo was supposed to be after this, so you can, just go ahead and book it in. Hired me to eliminate Paul and his ECW. But I knew that wasn't possible by myself. I know that the only weakness ECW has ever had was financial. And if ECW ever had a consistent financial backer like they do now with Vince McMahon, well, they'd be unstoppable. So I went out and I found Daphne, and I found Vampiro. Hell, I even stayed in Shane's rules and found 2 former WCW talents. But the Flock isn't done growing. It isn't done expanding. Which is why I extend my hand out to any WCW and especially any former Flock members. Which brings me to Perry Saturn. Perry, why don't you come down here and let's have a talk between 2 former WCW tag team champions, because they did hold the tag titles together, for old time's sakes. Which leads to Perry, actually coming out with Moppy and Big Boss Man, his new tag team partner, because they're buddying around now. And Saturn says, "Raven, save your damn breath. I've been under your leadership." And I guess I really, he just pretty much goes on to say, "I've been under your leadership, and that's something I never want to experience again." Which Raven will say, "It wasn't a choice, Perry. You either join or you die." And then Perry Saturn will be all like, "If it's a fight you're looking for, it's a fight you'll get. But I'd rather be dead than join you guys," or some bullshit like that. Which leads to a match between Perry Saturn and Raven here tonight. Vampiro getting better at his gimmick. Big Boss Man helping Saturn out here. Raven looked good. Daphne was very underwhelming, which is a shame for her. We move on to said match, which gets a 68 C+ here, and about that had decent wrestling, but not much weight in heat, or didn't have much heat, I should say. Raven going over Perry Saturn with, it says a handful of tights, but that's because I made it a tated finish, what I'd really like to imagine here is Raven goes over Perry Saturn after the referee gets distracted when Vampiro goes after Big Boss Man, and Daphne throws in Moppy to Perry Saturn, which, Raven then proceeds to break Moppy over Perry Saturn's head, taking Saturn out, going for the win. 1, 2, 3. Raven beats Saturn. Raven's getting better at his gimmick. Raven with a 74, Saturn with a 64, Nintendo 64. So we go into a 64 solid C rating here. The match is over, and while the flock are celebrating, okay, well, Vampiro didn't take Boss Man out. Let's just be clear there. It was just a distraction, I guess. Maybe they were arguing. I don't know. Or maybe Daphne went over to Boss Man and that led to Vampiro. Let's go that way, because it makes more sense since Boss Man's not taken out. Boss Man slides in the ring and I'll check on his partner, who, as you can see, a broken Moppy sitting right next to him, who's, kind of like waking up and all that, seeing Moppy just sitting there. That's when Raven takes notice and whispers something in Vampiro's ear, which leads to Vampiro now jumping Boss Man from behind, starting to beat up on the former police officer, or whatever you want to call him, correctionals officer. I have no idea really exactly what his exact gimmick was, but either way, Raven and Daphne joined in on the fun, beating up on Saturn as well. So now we got Raven, Daphne, Vampiro, the flock beating up on both Perry Saturn and Big Boss Man. That leads to Tommy Dreamer's music hits, and out comes Tommy Dreamer alongside Sabu and his returning girlfriend, Beulah McGillicuddy, I forget how do you pronounce it. They race down to the ring. They got weapons. I'd imagine Dreamer with like a Singapore cane, Sabu with his, steel chair, Beulah with maybe also a Singapore cane because she's Tommy's girlfriend. Either way, they race to the ring. They go in there. They start swinging, maybe connect with Vampiro. I'd imagine Vampiro being the only one that ever, gets hit here. Raven, Daphne, Vampiro get out of the ring. They retreat while the ECW stars stand tall. And there you have it. Daphne underperformed here, which, again, unfortunate for her, but that's because she's rated on overness. Did lose heat to the Raven Tommy Dreamer feud, which that's unfortunate as well. No worker improvements, but like I was going to say, or going to put in, but I forgot because I was just so eager to record, I guess. There was supposed to be a promo afterwards with, Mike, or not Mike Tenay, Mean Gene with, Paul Heyman, Tommy Dreamer, Sabu, and Beulah all there. Mean Gene asked him about it, which leads to Paul Heyman saying if the flock wants to exterminate ECW, they're not gonna, they're not just gonna exterminate us without a fight, some shit like that. And he goes on to say at the Armageddon pay-per-view, ECW accepts the Flock's challenge pretty much, and we go ahead and get ourselves a Extreme Rules tag team match, because I don't believe we can put Beulah in a match, can we? Let me just see real quick. Can we put her in a match? I don't believe we can. We might be able to. Can I see her on the roster? I can't. Huh. I wish there was a way that I can look up her segment. I kind of want to make it a 6-man. So I'm going to go ahead and put it as a 6-man, but we might not be able to put Beulah as a wrestler. We just might not be able to. It might not be possible, but we're going to go ahead and try. And that's not the 6-man I want, because it's got to be extreme. So we're just going to have to make our own one. Create match type. Extreme. And let's just go ahead and no stoppage, no time limit, no disqualifications or countouts. And let's put some weapons in there. Save. Must be at least low. Where am I at? Injury risk? Low. Low, low, low. Alright. Let's refresh. Not what I wanted to click on. Again, not what I wanted to click on. Extreme. Again, this might not work out, but we're going to go ahead and book it in anyway. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But again, it could work, and we might be able to use Beulah. Ah, see, we can't. Never mind. That answers our question. So instead of it being a six-man, we're just going to do a 2v2 extreme match. So let's go ahead, because there needs to be weapons. I know the Aussie rules doesn't include weapons, and there's no stoppage. It's a pinfall or submission. So 2v2 extreme rules. And once again, it's probably going to tell me that it needs to be low, so we're going to go ahead and make it low. 2v2 extreme rule. No, that's not what we wanted. I almost clicked the Aussie rules. I'm glad I saw it. We're spending a lot of time on this one segment here. 2v2 extreme rules. Raven and Vampiro versus Tommy Dreamer and Sabu. Extreme rules. And it doesn't need to say Raven and Vampiro. Let's just go ahead and make it say The Flock versus Tommy Dreamer and Sabu. And let's, boom, not 7, the and symbol, or the at symbol, please. ECW. Save. Close. Next segment. We move on to a 76 solid B rating here, backstage in the office of Lord Steven Regal. We see him drinking his tea while reading over some paperwork. When someone knocks on the door, he tells them to come on in. And it's WWF's Matt Hardy, the WCW Tag Team Champions, Mark Jindrak and Sean Stasiak, who are Regal's bodyguards. Of course, kind of step up to Matt Hardy. And Regal goes on to say, "Easy now, gentlemen. Matthew, what a pleasant surprise. What can I do for you, sir?" And then Matt goes, "Cut the crap, Regal. I think you know why I'm here. Last week, my brother and I stepped up against these two muscleheads and almost beat them for the WCW tag titles. And would've if it wasn't for your WCW Canadian champion, Lance Storm. The same champion that has been screwing me and my brother for the past weeks." And then Regal goes on to respond to Matt by saying, "Well, I certainly see why you're angry, Matthew. But I can't just give you a title shot. Those are earned. And you and your brother did lose last week. But I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you a shot to earn a title shot at Lance Storm's Canadian Championship." And then Matt's like, "All right, great. Who am I facing?" And then Regal goes on to say, "Jeff Hardy. Good luck out there, sunshine." And we have a number one contendership matches. We're going to see brother versus brother, Matt versus Jeff. Winner faces Lance Storm at Armageddon. We lead into that. Holy shit, I put Jeff Hardy in the action twice tonight. I totally forgot he had a match. We lead into said match, which gets a 76 B-. Matt versus Jeff for the first... Fucking Billy Gunn. I always make that mistake. There's always some mistake, right, guys? Matt versus Jeff for, I believe, the first time ever. Decent match. Matt and Jeff end by a draw. There's no... What the hell? First off, get Billy Gunn out of here. He wasn't even supposed to be here. Everything is messed up. Ignore this. So what happened here is pretty much the same gimmick that happened with the Tag Team Championship match last week when Austin and Rhino got involved. Lance Storm gets involved, hitting both the brothers. Maybe they're, tied up together. I don't know. But Lance Storm hits them somehow both at the same time, leading to, a double DQ, some sort of shenanigans, some sportless entertainment thing where Lance Storm gets involved. Maybe even hits them both with it. Actually, you know what? I think that's what I was going for. Lance Storm just smacks them both with the championship, running in and hitting them while they're collar and elbow tied up or something. And leads to, the draw. The draw between brothers here, as we don't have a challenger like the tag titles. It's almost like I'm reusing storylines. Jeff's getting better at his dude gimmick, but Matt was 1 point better than his brother here. 76 to a 75. Jeff's improving in performance. Well, that leads to Lord Steven Regal coming out with a 79 solid B rating here as Lance Storm is laughing at his dirty work. And Regal is not happy, and he says, "No, that's not how things are going to go. Last week we saw Steve Austin and Rhino come out here and ruin our number one contender tag title match. And I'll be damned will I let it happen again. So Lance, since you want to act like the WWF Tag Team Champions, then you'll be treated like the WWF Tag Team Champions. So I'm officially announcing that at Armageddon, you, Lance Storm, will defend your WCW Canadian title, almost a tag title, against both Matt and Jeff Hardy." And we even kind of, in a promo that breaks the third wall in a way, we even kind of acknowledge the fact that, yeah, we're pretty much reusing the same thing here, but it sets up brother versus Canadian champion as Matt Hardy gets his title match along with Jeff Hardy. And Lance could be screwed here because they are a tag team. This is practically a handicap match, you would imagine. WCW Canadian, let's go title because it's shorter. And I'd imagine, Lance just screaming like, "What are you doing? Aren't you on our side or something? Like, why would you put me in this handicap match?" Pretty much. Oh, I gotta put champion at Lance Storm. He is the WCW Canadian champion, you guys. Boom. 84 B plus to follow that as we're backstage. We see Ric Flair getting ready for his matchup against the WWF Intercontinental Champion, The Undertaker. That's when Ric Flair's protege, Chris Benoit, walks into the room to check on him. That's The Undertaker's opponent at Armageddon. And Benoit comes in. He's like, "Knock, knock. Hey there, champ. How you feeling tonight, man?" And Flair goes, "How am I feel? Do you really even care how I'm feeling?" And Benoit's like, "What the hell? Of course I do. I mean, you are facing my opponent for Armageddon. I was hoping maybe the dirtiest player in the game can weaken up The Undertaker for me." And then Flair goes on, "How come you didn't run this by me? I mean, this is The Undertaker we're talking about. This isn't my first time in the WWF, and I avoided facing the dead man my first time around for many reasons." Again, I could be jumping the gun by saying that, and they could have had a legit one-on-one match, but I don't believe they did. Benoit then responds, "Oh, come on. Don't tell me the legendary Ric Flair is afraid of the dead man. Come on, champ. You've got this. Trust me." And then Benoit walks out, and we just see Ric Flair sitting there, and he's like, "Sure as hell hope I do." Flair's getting better at his gimmick, and he came out looking excellent. We then lead into a hardcore title match, and surprise, surprise, everybody, Glacier makes his first ever appearance on the WWF, and probably his only ever appearance on the WWF, but that's nor here nor, never say never, they say, I guess. I guess we could have had a promo here, but again, that's kind of running out of space, and I wanted to do that one promo more than I wanted to do this, as we could just have the commentators explain as Bradshaw makes his way down to the ring, while we see Glacier standing there, that Bradshaw has been issuing open challenge to anybody for the Hardcore Championship, saying he wants to be a defending champion, unlike Farouk was, or Ron Simmons, excuse me. And Glacier is here to accept the challenge, and them putting over how we haven't seen Glacier in how long? Either way here, about that had subpar wrestling and little heat to it. Bradshaw going over Glacier, everyone's favorite wrestler, in 4 minutes 29 seconds with the clothesline from hell, making his fourth defense of the Hardcore Championship, getting a solid 59 here. Bradshaw looked good with a 75 in-ring performance. Glacier with a 32. Glacier. We then follow up with an 81 solid B rating here as Bradshaw's in the ring celebrating after a successful title defense, and that's when he's once again jumped by his former partner and the former Hardcore Champion, Ron Simmons, who beats down on the Hardcore Champion with the steel chair before grabbing the mic saying, "You just don't get it, John, do you? You just don't see the lengths that I'm willing to go to not only get my title back, but to make the world forget about you. I don't give a damn about our past. I don't give a damn about the APA or our friendship. I could pin you right here and take my title back. Do you understand that, boy? But I want to prove to you and all these people that I was the one carrying you in the APA. And I'm going to do that at Armageddon when I take that title back from you and end your career once and for all." And then Simmons picks Bradshaw up, hits him with the Dominator onto that steel chair he was hitting him with before, and he just leaves him laying there in the ring with the Hardcore Championship, maybe posing with it before, leaving it there as he throws it on the Bradshaw. So I guess that kind of confirms that we're going to see Ron Simmons versus Bradshaw. So let's go ahead and do that. And instead of doing Aussie Rules matches, I think for now on we are going to go ahead and do Extreme Rules matches. So let's go ahead and create that for this as well. So Extreme Rules, weapons, and there we go. Oh yeah, low, that's right. Almost forgot. There we go. Boom. And it should be here. Extreme Rules. Could call it a hardcore match, but Extreme Rules is better. I like it. Bradshaw, Ron Simmons. Let's just auto name it. WWF Hardcore title. Bradshaw, of course, representing the WWF and is the champion. Ron Simmons representing the WCW. Got a stacked card here, guys. Might even have to increase time. Alright, we are going to get all those matches on, though. We are. I promise you that much. Move on to the next segment as we just see The Undertaker warming up. Nothing special here. He's just maybe punching air or maybe a bag or whatever. Undertaker's warming up backstage. Gets us a solid 78B. I believe this moves on to the main event. It does indeed, as we get a solid 80 B rating here. I almost said in-ring performance. Solid 80 B here, and about that had sensational wrestling and fantastic heat in 20 minutes, 17 seconds. The Undertaker going over Ric Flair with the last ride. Bobby Heenan was pretty weak. This match got the crowd hotter, which is a shame because it is the end of the show. The Undertaker with a 97. Ric Flair with a 95. No worker improvement. No shenanigans after the match. No nothing. Maybe we should have had like a stare down or something, but Undertaker beats Ric Flair. Clean in the ring. 1, 2, 3. And about that had sensational wrestling as well. 84 B plus. No improvements. No losses. No anything. Just a regular old show. Got fantastic reviews, though, so you can't complain. Apparently, Tim Arson, he gets pushed. The more he gets pushed, the more nervous he gets. Feeling that he gets, well, I guess you're never going to get pushed anywhere then, buddy. James Mitchell, the best manager in the world. Have we shortlisted James Mitchell? We have. What do we got here, though? Steve Blackman. I'm unhappy with how I've been. What a shame for you, buddy. Big Boss Man doesn't connect with the fans, the Giant says. Perry Saturn doesn't connect with the fans, that's what DDP says. And Tommy Dreamer doesn't connect with the fans, is what Ric Flair says. Thank you guys for your opinions. Whew, wasn't Vampiro. Okay, Perry Saturn, steroids. Gonna fine him like we do everybody else. Improved his behavior. He's happy. I'm happy. Maybe he'll get off of them. Probably not. But what can you do? Let's check out our storylines before we end this off. 87B for the 4-way tag title match. 81B, or excuse me, B plus for that, by the way. 81B for Booker and Kurt. 76B minus for Bradshaw and Ron. 95 A star for Jericho and Goldberg. 79B for Palumbo and RVD. 82B for DDP and the Giant. 89A for Edge and Christian. 58C minus for Kidman and Spike. 76B minus for Storm and the Hardy Boys. Lita and Molly with a 64C. Los Guerreros and Power Plant with a 70C plus. Raven and Tommy Dreamer with a 69C plus. Rock and Triple H with an 86B plus. Undertaker and Benoit with a 90A rating here. Alright. That's going to be the end of this episode, Nerds and Geeks. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, do me a favor. Leave me a comment, like, and subscribe if you have not already. And as always, my name is OMGWTF LOLA FTWBRB. And I will see you guys for Sunday Night Heat. But until then, you guys have a good day.